these videos or these webinars on YouTube, and we'll go ahead and get started. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today. Again, my name is Andrew King with Websan, and today we're going to be going through our time and expense management system. So for those of you that have been with us for a while, we have sort of a mix of existing clients and some potential clients as well. You can always go to our website and find our webinars at the link above, so just websan.com, and then we have a demo page where you can see previous webinars. We also have a YouTube page where you can see all of our webinars, including additional training videos and things that we've loaded up over the years. So today what we're going to cover is really our time and expense management system for Dynamics GP. The basic functions of the system, how it works, also from an employee standpoint, how they submit timesheets, expenses, requests for purchases, and also vacation requests. From a manager standpoint, how they do approvals, and also reporting, which we'll spend quite a bit of time on. Just make sure everybody's okay here. Yep. Also, we'll cover how we then integrate into Dynamics GP. We'll spend a little bit of time in Dynamics GP taking a look at transactions and things like that as well as we feed them into GP from our portal. So a little bit of history here first before we get started. This time and expense system was originally developed to replace, for those of you that are familiar, a system called Business Portal, which is what Microsoft provides as its licensed time and expense management employee self-service module. It just wasn't very customizable. It was very difficult to add users. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes just to simply add a user to it. So our clients and even prospective clients at the time found it incredibly difficult to use. So we started about 2 years ago developing the solution for our clients. Over the years, through enhancement requests and various additional functionality that we've added, it's really become sort of a comprehensive time and expense management solution, and obviously we'll be going through a lot of that today. We're still doing about a release a month with additional functionality, and we're going to start after the summer having really a quarterly group of customers get together and request additional functionality, sort of a forum, if you will. We already look at competitors out in the marketplace, and in the Dynamics world there's not much that comes close to what we offer, but we're also looking at other standalone systems for competitive information and what we can add to our portal to be more user-friendly or just more comprehensive. It is browser independent, so today, in fact, I'll be demonstrating it on Chrome, but you can use Internet Explorer, you can use Firefox, and obviously Safari as well, and a Mac works great. The cool thing, I like to call it, is you can use it on a tablet. So it doesn't need to be a Windows tablet. I've done demonstrations on iPads, and even our expense attach or file scanning and upload works quite well on a tablet. You can even just take a picture of a receipt on a desk and then attach that to an expense report. So some pretty cool stuff there as far as tablets go. It's taken off quite rapidly over the past couple of years. We now have about 700 users across North America, both in the U.S. and Canada. Some government clients, private clients, and publicly traded companies using it. We do have it deployed on client servers as well as our cloud solution. Mainly today, or these days, we're selling it as a cloud solution where it's hosted on our servers. And if you own Dynamics GP, we enable your system to talk to our time and expense portal. And if you're one of our cloud clients, then obviously that just works right out of the box. So here's a list of functionality that currently exists in our time and expense management system. And as you notice, I kind of even ran out of room on the page without shrinking the font. But timesheets is obviously where we started a few years back. And timesheets now possess also the ability to load timesheets directly from Excel, which is quite popular with clients who have users who aren't always connected to the internet or don't have good cell phone or mobile coverage where they are. So you can obviously continue to record your time on an Excel sheet, and then when you get back in the office or have internet connectivity, you can upload that directly to the portal. Expenses work the same way. You can put expenses in directly into the portal. You can also upload them via Excel as well. And it also has document scanning and upload to expense reports, so your manager can actually review the receipts as well as then approve your expense report. Another big drawback of Business Portal back in the day was handling of Canadian taxes. And we have solved that issue quite comprehensively. So any value-added tax country, being UK or Canada, you can actually, it handles taxes just fine. Also will net out tips for meals, also handles mileage for car expenses and things like that. And we'll demonstrate all that as well. One other thing that expenses can handle is also corporate credit cards. So if employees are out in the field but using a corporate credit card, they can still submit that expense, and it does create a payable in AP, but now to pay the credit card vendor rather than reimburse the employee. And you can get out a mixed expense report. So I can put one expense line into a credit card and put another line in to be reimbursed, and they can all go in on the same expense report. So some pretty cool stuff there. Purchase requisitions and purchase requests. All of the above, including purchase requests, expenses, and timesheets, follow approval paths to the employee's manager as we define it in Dynamics GP. So all of our master data is still maintained in Dynamics GP and follows the appropriate approval levels and paths as in GP. Again, back in the day in Business Portal, it was a bit painful to maintain the purchase requisition approval hierarchy versus timesheets and expenses. So we consolidated it all into one place in Dynamics GP. All of these above modules integrate directly with GP via eConnect, which is a standard integration tool that Microsoft provides. And we'll be demonstrating that a bit today. Newer functionality we've implemented just in the past few months, vacation requests. So you can actually maintain a company calendar of stat holidays, and then employees can request vacation, and managers can approve it, and then when they do so, it actually shows up in the timesheet as vacation time automatically. So some pretty cool stuff there. Workflows and approvals, we have a full-blown messaging system within the portal itself, but it will also email employees and managers. It'll email an employee if they haven't yet submitted a timesheet by the cutoff day. Most clients, that's either a Sunday or a Monday. And also, it will email them when their vacation has been approved or rejected, depending, as well as other rejected timesheets, expenses, or purchase requisitions. So that goes directly to Outlook, and then the employees can access the portal and deal with whatever the message said. One of the interesting things that we've done is traditionally SQL reporting services for Dynamics is only available using Internet Explorer, and you have to be on your actual Dynamics network to get it. What we've done is we've actually embedded SQL reporting services within the portal that's actually written in PHP, browser independent as well, and we have numerous clients who enjoy using some pretty sophisticated SQL reports from tablets, from multiple browsers. So some pretty advanced functionality there. We've also, within the portal, embedded management and security of the reports. So you can create report groups, you can assign employees to those report groups, and then manage who gets access to those reports. So we've taken SQL reporting services right out of Dynamics GP and Internet Explorer and put them out there for you to run as needed. And I think the biggest benefit that clients have seen that use this portal, not only ease of use and obviously capturing time more effectively, but being able to put real-time project reports in the hands of project managers and employees. So, and again, managing security is key because you might only want some project managers to see their own projects, etc. But again, some pretty sophisticated functionality there. Lots of different configuration options. Some clients have wanted certain functions on and off. We'll touch on that a little bit. And we've also made it self-administered, so obviously employees can reset their own passwords and things like that. But we also have a full-blown FAQ that gets updated with every release, and a user guide as well that you can download from the portal that gets updated with each release. So with that being said, that's a quick run-through of kind of everything we offer to date. But like I said, every month we seem to be adding more and more functionality. So the full user guide can be found within the portal if you're interested, or if there's something that interests you specifically, happy to put together a demo, a live interactive demo for you or any of your clients in the future. So let's jump in here. First, I want to give you a quick tour of the system, just kind of poke around and show you the different pieces and parts. And then we'll jump into timesheets. And time reporting is obviously a critical area. Just quickly demonstrate how you add lines, comments, and things like that. We also have the ability to copy prior weeks. So if your employees are working on the same projects or accounts week to week, very simple to copy prior. Also, if they're on vacation a lot, they can copy prior there. Also, copy from template. You can store a template of different projects that you frequently work on, and then just copy that into your timesheet so you don't have to re-enter the same stuff. And I already mentioned uploading from Excel. So with that being said, let's just jump right in here. And we're going to go ahead. Let me just make sure I've got no questions or anything like that. Yeah, we're looking good. So here's the login screen. Every employee has their own employee ID and password. You actually can initiate an employee gaining access to the portal right from Dynamics GP, so you don't have to administer it within a third system. You just simply add an employee record, and we've put a little checkbox in Dynamics GP that when you tick it on, it then adds the employee to the portal to submit time and expenses and things like that. So I'm going to log in right now into the portal. As you can see, I'm on Chrome this morning. And basically the system comes right to the timesheet screen, and I can begin just by picking a client and a project. Now this does use project accounting in Dynamics GP, so project accounting does need to be live. We've got a few inquiries from people wanting to know if we can go directly into Canadian payroll. We can, that is an option, but as you'll see in this demo, there's a lot of functionality you get from project accounting, even that simply just putting comments in a timesheet that go into GP, that if you just went into payroll, you'd lose that ability because there is frankly no place to put a comment in Canadian payroll on a timesheet. So what we like to do is we use project accounting, and then just using standard GP functionality, we then can feed directly into Canadian or US payroll. Either one is just fine. So you can see here I've already set up some stuff. I got a few days off. That was vacation request number 6, so it's already marked those days. So I'm just going to click on Thursday and maybe put 7 hours in Thursday. And then by clicking the N key, I can put a note in the timesheet right here. And when I hit OK, I can actually see the note, and it gives me a little red cursor to let me know that's what I've highlighted. I can put another 5 hours maybe on Friday, another few hours, and that will be my timesheet since I already took Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off. I can add another line and select another client. And again, this comes from the list of open projects in Dynamics GP. So we can pick maybe American Express as another client that I worked on. And it picks the different cost categories right from the project configuration. And again, you just pick what you need and use it there. So we'll put a note in there too. And again, I can save this timesheet. It does give it a timesheet number, and that comes from Dynamics GP. So right now we're storing that timesheet in Dynamics GP in the background. It hasn't been posted or anything yet because it still needs to go for approval. But right now it's just sitting here. You can see on the left side I've got a calendar that's color-coded. It shows me this week I'm working on this, this green highlighted week. These are ones out in the future. This one for the previous week was approved, and I can go back in time and show this one was rejected, and there are others that are still open or have been put through. So a little calendar app there. You can actually, on a tablet, it's nice because you can move this over and give yourself a little more room so it displays on a tablet a little better. You can also attach documents to these timesheets. You can see that over here. It works the same on expenses. So if you do have paper timesheets or something that you want to attach, maybe you've uploaded this from Excel, and you can see this little upload button down here. Again, you can attach attachments to a timesheet. So timesheets, again, very, very straightforward. You're just picking the projects and the clients that you're working. Again, if you work on the same stuff each week or your employees work on the same projects each week, you can just copy prior or create a template. The other thing that's nice is an administrator who has rights can log in and modify a person's timesheet if they need to. So that's also quite helpful. So that's timesheets, and we're going to go ahead and submit that to the boss here. And we'll log in as the manager here in a bit and deal with that, but wanted to quickly just submit that. And now you can see my timesheet has gone and changed to this color, and it's automatically advanced to the next week. So now I'm just waiting for approval on that. Other areas of the system you can see here, and we'll just cover that real quick. Expenses, POs, look at my own history, and then also reporting. In the tools section, that only exists from an employee standpoint to change their password periodically, etc. But we'll jump into expenses and POs and reports here in a bit. A couple other areas I want to show you is the help and frequently asked questions section. So for instance, let's say I'm trying to figure out how to put an expense in using a credit card. There's an FAQ right for that here. It shows you in Dynamics GP what your administrator needs to do, and then in the expense report itself how that works. So all of our different questions have been addressed in these different areas. So very, very much self-service for our clients. Also down here, there's our time and expense portal user guide, which is growing every time we do a release, but it's now about a 30 or 40 page PDF user guide that you can download right from the portal itself. So we're continually adding FAQs as clients ask us questions, etc. We're always adding to that. We're also going to be creating, there's a home page here, and we'll also have some dashboard reports that will come up here over time. Right now we've just got sort of rejected timesheets, saved and not approved, and saved and not submitted. Or sorry, submitted and not approved, and saved and not submitted for our employees. So that dashboard is going to be coming in the future with a bit more functionality than currently exists. So with that being said, let's talk about expenses a little bit. So when an employee enters expenses, number one, multi-currency, so Canadian, US, whatever other currency you want, is fully supported in the portal. VAT tax, as I mentioned earlier, so netting tax out, we'll show you how that works when it goes into GP. Also handles tips and nets out tips for taxes for meals, and also does mileage. The other piece of functionality it covers is use of corporate credit cards. So again, if I have a corporate credit card that I'm using as an employee, and I put my expense report in for that credit card, it does create a payable in GP to pay the vendor rather than reimburse the employee. And we'll walk through scanning and attaching documents to the expense report as well. So jumping back in here, I'm going to go over to expenses. And now we have a new screen again. I can take a look and pick any currency. This all comes from Dynamics GP, so there's no separate configuration within the portal itself. But I'm just going to submit it for this month, so we'll just pick OK here. And then when I click Add, you see a little window pops up with the expense date. I can also put a location. Some clients like their employees to put the actual location that they're working, because that can have different tax ramifications. If I am using a credit card, I can pick the credit cards that are assigned to my user ID based on the configuration in Dynamics GP. So for now, I'm just going to put something in that reimburses me. So similar to the timesheet, I'm going to pick my project. I'm going to pick my client, and now I'm going to pick my project. And now, depending on which of these I pick, the system is going to behave very differently. So if I pick a meal, you see this window for tip amount actually shows up. So maybe I did a $100 meal, I tipped them 15 bucks, so now the total before tip and taxes is 85, and I'm going to pick a Canadian GST tax, and you can see that tax is actually applied on the net amount, not the total amount of the meal, because obviously the tips don't get taxed. Went for dinner. Okay, so here's my reimbursable amount of $100. The reimbursable tip is 15 bucks, and the allocated tax is $5.56. So we're going to add that to my expense report. I'm going to add another line here, and we're going to pick, maybe I worked on the same project. So we'll pick that again, but this time, you know what, I had some mileage that I drove. So now you notice the screen changes automatically to enter, maybe I drove 100 kilometers or miles. This is my category or reimbursable rate. And again, this all comes from Dynamics GP, so based on the cost category you choose, the screen changes. And again, that's all controlled from within Dynamics GP. Last but not least, I'm going to again pick the same client and project here. But this time I'm just going to pick automobile expense, so maybe I rented a car or something. And again, the screen stays the same. There's now no tip or anything like that, but I'm netting out the tax. And I'll say rented a car. So again, 3 different types of expenses, all in the same expense report. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'll get the employee expense number. And finally, what I can do, I've got these 3 expenses in here. I can now attach a document to this expense report. And we're just going to go grab something right off my desktop. So we'll give that a second here to open up. You don't need to really see my pictures per se. But let's just go down here, and I should have a receipt somewhere here that I used to upload. There it is. So we'll do that, and we'll call this receipt, and we'll upload that. There we go. So now I've got a receipt uploaded to this. And I'm going to go ahead and submit this to my boss, and it's going to tell me it's above my expense limit. So the expense limits and how much I can put through, including also purchases, is maintained right in Dynamics GP as well on the employee card and payroll. I'm not going to jump in there right now, but just wanted to mention that all of the configuration, as I mentioned earlier, is in Dynamics GP. So that's my expense report. We've gone ahead and now submitted that to my boss, and he's got that waiting for his approval. So that's expenses. Okay? So let's talk about vacation requests. Vacation requests, I can request days off to my boss, and then they can take a look at not only my calendar, but also all the employees in their department, because we're all linked in Dynamics GP by the same department, and take a look at the vacation calendar. And I'll tell you, this is extremely popular with clients, because not only can you manage vacation quite well, but then you can also see your other employees, what they're doing for vacation, and then it also updates the timesheet. So there's no need for an employee to re-enter time as vacation time. The system automatically does that. So a very popular module with clients these days. And I see we have a question from someone. Let's see here. Does the attached receipt save in GP is the question. And not yet. That is actually scheduled for a future release this year. So the attachment doesn't go into Dynamics GP. It stays within the portal. The supervisor can see it, but at this point it doesn't go into Dynamics GP as an attachment. It stays up in the portal. So the accounting department, if they're taking a look at receipts for backup, they just need to log into the portal and use a report to go ahead and see those receipts. Great question, though. Thank you. So let's go back in. Now I'm going to make a time off request as an employee. So I come here to my screen, and we've got a couple options here. So as an employee, you've got my time off request there, and we're going to jump ahead to October, because I think I've put in timesheets for pretty much every time. What you can see is I've already got some days off here, October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's been approved. If it's not approved, and you'll see this here in a minute, the timesheet goes in, or the vacation request actually has a yellow bar. Based on a configuration setting in the system, you can enable your employees to see everybody's vacation schedule as well if you want to. So as an employee, I can say, oh, you know what, I already noticed that Natalie's taking a day off. My boss probably isn't going to approve that, so I'm not going to try. I'll take a vacation maybe the following week. And again, that's a configuration setting, so you can hide the other vacation requests for employees if you want. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to make a new time off request. So my start date, we're going to put that sort of the end of October, if you will. And we're going to take a couple days off here. And we're going to say, you know what, I'm taking vacation, and I'll submit my time off request. Now, we've also enabled attaching documents here as well, because maybe your policy is that you want proof of travel or something, so you scan an airline ticket. Who knows? But again, we've enabled that same functionality. So the other thing too is when you configure the vacation reason codes, you can actually attach a certain number of hours. So as an example, if you have a reason code being doctor's appointment, maybe your minimum time off is 4 hours or something like that. So again, that's all configurable as well. So I'll submit the request. It says it's been requested. Vacation request number 7. You can actually see it down here now in yellow that I've requested vacation. It's been submitted versus these being approved to the boss. So again, pretty slick functionality as far as it goes. Fairly simple in concept, a little more difficult from a technical standpoint, but very, very popular with the clients to manage time off. And we'll log in as the manager here in a minute and take care of everything. So last piece of functionality I wanted to show you is really purchase requests. So again, very similar to expenses. You're again picking a combination, except this time it's the vendor, but again, project and cost category, and then again gets submitted to the supervisor for approval. We do have some clients who want to be able to print the PO right from the portal, so we've enabled that functionality. Some clients want to restrict that and only want to be able to print a PO from GP as the actual buyer. So we have both those options available. Some people have, or some clients have remote employees printing POs, and they want them to be able to do that from wherever they are, so they do that from the portal. So quickly we're going to jump back here, and I'm going to request a purchase. So we'll click on the PO tab, and again, it can be multi-currency depending. This all picks up everything from GP. So we'll put a demo PO. So we'll pick Ace Travel Company here, and we'll pick today's date. And again, we're going through the exact same thing we did before. So I'm going to pick my Enbridge pipeline project. Let's see. And again, which task? So I'm going to buy some field tool supplies. And we're going to buy maybe $100 worth. Bought some tools. And then we'll hit tab, and I'll submit that to my boss. So it functions a little bit differently. You can do 1 line, 2, 3, or 4. But then you just submit that right to your boss right there. And again, you can attach documents just like you did with expenses and timesheets. And again, that's all been now sent to the boss. So some pretty simple functionality there. But once the boss approves it, then it will be sent to Dynamics GP. If the boss rejects it, the boss gives it a rejection reason, and then the employee can see the rejection reason within the portal and deal with it at that time. So POs are pretty straightforward, and we'll show that going right into Dynamics GP. So now what have I done? I've done an employee timesheet. I've done an expense. I've put a purchase request in. I put a vacation request in. So I've done a whole bunch of stuff. And now what we need to do is log in as the boss and go see these things and approve them and get them into Dynamics GP. So we'll take a look at also how to review previous expenses and timesheets, etc., for any employee in the manager's group so they can quickly look at history. We'll approve some stuff, and we'll also get into reporting now and some system configuration. So after I approve the submissions in the portal, we'll jump into Dynamics GP, and I'll show you how all that stuff took place, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at some reporting services and system configuration in the portal. All right, so let's jump back in here. I'm going to log out as employee 2, and we're going to log back in as manager 1. I got pretty creative with the login IDs, obviously. So first thing you'll notice is I've got this little blinking light here for messages, and if I click on that, it takes me to the internal messaging queue for the portal. So I've got a timesheet waiting for approval, an expense, time off, purchase order. So immediately I know I've got some things waiting for approval here. If I click on it, I can actually go directly to the approval screen and take a look at it. So my timesheet was automatically selected here for approval, and you can see I've got a few others waiting here, but this is the one that I just did today. And I maybe want to see it, so I click on that little magnifying glass here. It tells me exactly what was posted and all the notes that are there. Okay, so I can actually go ahead and approve selected. I can do a whole bunch of them. Also, if a supervisor is on vacation, we have a master approval. Master approver setting. So if I'm the manager of the manager and the manager 1 goes on vacation, but I'm still around, I can still approve his or her employees' time, expenses, etc. In their place. So that works as well. And then in a future release later this summer, we're going to have the ability to substitute people as well. So when you make a vacation request, you can actually tell the system, when the manager approves. When the employee submits the vacation request, at that point you can say, you know what, your manager's going to be out because they're on vacation too. Please pick someone else to approve this request. So again, here's my little notice, here's the detail on the timesheet, and I'm just going to go ahead and approve that little guy, and it's going to go into GP. Now just to show you how quickly that happens, if I go immediately into Dynamics GP and go to my timesheet, and we're just going to pick the last one, there's number 410 that was the one that I just approved. And you can see it's for Amex and 2 days on Enbridge Pipe. So it is literally instantaneous into Dynamics GP. You can see the comments, everything I typed in there all goes right into the timesheet instantly. And works the same way with POs, works the same way with expenses, but I just wanted to show you real quick how quickly those actually go into the back-end system. So you'll also notice the messages before was 11, now it's stating at 10, so that message now went away because obviously it's no longer needed. I can also come here to the Approvals tab and take a look at all the expenses I have for approval or timesheet, etc. And again, here's that expense report we just did. I can take a look at it here. There are my 3 lines. Went for dinner, drove a bit, rented a car. Notice there's a little icon here, a little piece of paper on it. I can view attached documents, and there's my scanned receipt. So in Chrome, it's just going to show up down here in the corner. When I open it up, and it just went to my other monitor, so I'll drag it over here. I scanned a pizza receipt, and there's my actual paper receipt. And again, just helps in the approval workflow. You don't need to necessarily talk to the employee. You can just see that everything's right here. Now, if I want to reject it, I can put reject notes in here, and instead of approving it, I can actually reject the selected, and it would go right back to my employee, and they also get an email that the timesheet expense or what have you has been rejected. We're not going to reject it, though. We're going to let it go through because I want to show the accounting side as well. So I'm going to approve that little guy. And again, let's just jump quickly right back into Dynamics GP. Take a look at the last expense report that went in. So if you recall, I did meals, I did mileage, and I did a car. So here's the simplest one that went in. I had a $150 car expense, and we've netted out the taxes there. Then I did some mileage, so I did, it looks like about 50 bucks worth of mileage there. And then here's the meals. So if you recall, the meals was a little more complex because I had a tip in there. When I take a look at what actually needs to be paid back, it's $300, but that's only made up of $284.63 of purchases and $15.37 of taxes. So all that was indeed netted out. Okay. If I had put something with a credit card, you would actually see an amount for a credit card here, and in fact you can split that. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I can maybe have one expense that went to credit card that goes on the corporate card, and the others went just to be reimbursed by me. So again, instantly that feeds into Dynamics GP. All the comments, etc., come with it. So from an audit perspective, every single thing is in there. Okay, we're going to go back to our approval screen, and if you recall, we had a PO sitting there that needs to be approved. So where's my little PO? That's over here, 2471. I can take a look at it again. Bought some tools for $100, and again, we can approve that as well. And that instantly goes in to Dynamics GP. The last thing is this vacation request, and this gets a bit more interesting because now when I get a vacation request from an employee, I want to see when is everybody else taking vacation as well. So this is October 21st, so we're going to jump out to October here. And what I can see is this guy's already taken a few days off. He's requested these 3 days, so it's in yellow. But again, I can also see everybody else right here in a nice organized table to see if anyone else has taken vacation. So you know what? He's taken a lot of vacation, but he gets those many days off, so I'm okay with it. I'm going to go ahead and approve his vacation time. So once I do that, you're going to notice this little line switches to red, so it's been approved. If I go back in the timesheet, so I'm going to log out real quick again and go back in as the employee. And if I jump to that week, which is October 21st, what you see is I've already got 3 days of vacation marked here. So it locks it out because it says, this actually came from the system itself, and it has our vacation request number 7 listed there. So we've already got those days off, and the employee knows not to book time into those particular days. So we'll go back in now as Manager 1. Whoop, Manager 1. There we go. So you notice my message queue is now decreased by 4. So I approved an expense, a timesheet, a PO, and I also approved a vacation request. So those are all gone. If I want to, I can also take a look at a history here for everything that's been submitted. Maybe I want to take a look at this guy, Michael, seems to be submitting a whole bunch of stuff. So let's take a look at all of the time off requests that Michael submitted because, wow, it seems like he's taking a lot of vacation. So, yep, there they all are, and I can click on each one and just take a look at actually what the details are. I can take a look at all of the expense reports put in and even the status. So maybe I want to look at any expense reports that are waiting for approval. And I can quickly just take a look at that as well. So this is just a quick little historical tool that you can use as a boss to look at anybody. Maybe I want to see all expenses waiting for approval. I can take a look at that. I can take a look at a date range, a category, maybe for a particular project. So a lot of little tools here that I can use to just look at information at a glance. The other big thing that's here is SQL reporting services. So as I mentioned earlier, this is browser independent. So these are actually SQL reports that have been deployed on the Dynamics server, but now they're available right here in the portal. And again, I think a lot of clients really take an advantage of the fact that this can run on a tablet. I know of a few clients that actually have sort of a Monday project meeting with their staff, and one of our clients just walks in with his iPad and shows from the iPad all the different reports. I have another client, they ride home on the GO train from Toronto to up north each day, and they're able to literally sit there with their iPad mini and run various reports and look at projects and send emails. So some pretty cool functionality from a mobile perspective. We do have on our list by the end of the year to have a full-blown mobile version of this, but we'll keep you posted on that. Meanwhile, from a reporting standpoint, again, if I want to look at all of, say, this is employee 2 here, I want to look at all the time and projects that have been submitted this year by this person. Here's that report right here. So it's coming up here in a quick second. Again, SQL report, so you can format it, you can do whatever the heck you want with it, but you can see all the different hours that this person has submitted. If I want to export it to Excel, I can do that, and you'll see here in a second the Excel report come up. And again, I can manipulate it however I like. The other thing to consider here is that from a reporting standpoint, you don't need a Dynamics GP license to look at reports that come out of Dynamics GP. You can use the portal not only for project-related reports, but the hundreds and hundreds of native Microsoft Dynamics GP reports that come with the system are also available for view within this portal. And you can see here's the Excel version of the same thing we just looked at. The other thing you can do is instantly, maybe you just want a quick printout of this little guy, you can instantly just export this right off the bat to PDF. And then again, if you want to save it somewhere or print it or email it, that's just with one click of a button. So very, very quick. We use this all the time to send client timesheets to our clients. And let's just show a couple other ones here. For instance, it also supports drill downs and some pretty advanced reporting. Let's take a look at that Enbridge customer we've been working on. And we're going to just do a view this report here. So we'll give this a second. So this is now just a profitability report, but it's yet linked to another report. You can see I've incurred $9,524 of cost on this project. I can actually drill down into that and see that that's made up of the following expenses, purchases, and timesheets. Now, I didn't post any of the stuff we just put through in GP, so that's why it's not showing up on this report. But again, instant access to information. So again, if I want to break out projects by different classes or anything like that, very, very straightforward to do. And again, from a security standpoint, let me just show you quickly how that works. What you do is you can actually set up different report groups. So let's say this is my all group. This is my list of reports. But if I want to add reports to this group, here's all the hundreds and hundreds of Dynamics GP reports that I can add via user security to this group of users. So what you do is you add a report into this group. So maybe we'll do another project report here. Let's just find one here because they're fun. Maybe closed projects or something. I'll add it to that group. So now if I go to my current list of project reports, if I click there, we'll see it come up here. And there it is right there, closed projects. Okay. If I then go into my reports tab, and because I'm a member of that group, if I go to my projects tab, you can see there's the closed project report right there. What you do is you actually assign in the portal itself the members of these different report groups. So it's very, very simple. If any of you are familiar with SQL reporting services, takes some sort of an administrative mindset to be able to assign security rights and things like that. We've taken all that out of that back end and put it here. So once reports are deployed for Dynamics GP, you organize your users into groups, and then you assign reports to those groups. Again, very, very straightforward. And just with each of these portals that we sell, clients will buy a few administrative user licenses as well, and then they can administer reports, security, and things like that. So reports are fantastic. I think it's probably the #1 thing, besides obviously being able to put time and expenses and purchases and things in. Probably the #1 reason why people really, really get a lot of use out of this portal is because of the reporting functionality that's there. So again, let me go back to some tools here, and we'll just run through configuration settings real quick. So this is growing with every release, but a few things I just want to touch on here, and when you go into system configuration, and this is mainly an administrative function, you can also just hover your cursor above each of these and it tells you what the heck they mean. One thing we've had requested a lot, some clients bill their clients in finite time increments. So even if an employee enters, say, 0.14 hours or something, you might actually want that rounded to maybe 0.25. So if you bill in 15-minute increments, you set that to 0.25, and no matter what the heck an employee enters, it's going to round it up to the nearest 0.25. All these different various functions, holiday tracking, time off requests, uploading timesheets, forcing employees to always submit a timesheet in chronological order, that's all configurable. Allowing multiple lines on a timesheet, what this allows you to do, and frankly WebSend takes great advantage of this, we have fully integrated our timesheet system with our help desk tool. So when we add a note to a client help desk ticket, in the ticket itself, in our help desk tool, we can actually assign time to that ticket, and the moment we do so, it goes back and automatically books the time in our timesheet. It's had a dramatic impact on both our utilization and accuracy. Clients ask less questions because we also take all the comments and the notes from that ticket that we just put in and put that actually right into the timesheet entry. So it's seamless integration. You actually pick the project that you're working on in the ticketing system itself, and it updates the timesheet system. So some pretty cool stuff, but you need to allow multiple lines of the timesheet because for every single note we add to a ticket in our ticketing system, it puts another line on the timesheet. So that same client, project, cost category combination gets repeated multiple times in a timesheet, but it does reduce the amount of work that my employees have to do. And we've allowed that. We can build integration if clients have timesheet systems. We can build that integration as well. So approvals as well. Some clients use approvals, some don't. Some use email, some don't. Doesn't really matter. We also can use access lists from GP. If you're not familiar with what an access list is for project accounting, if you only want certain employees to see certain projects and not be able to enter time on everything, you can maintain what's called an access list in Dynamics GP, and we have a configuration setting for that. I would say the vast majority of our clients leave it as a free-for-all because they just don't want to administer who can access what. Most employees know what they're working on, so that's not a requirement. But again, that's a configuration setting. Tips on expenses. Allow expense reports to be submitted on closed fiscal periods. Some clients want to allow this, some don't, most don't. Tips on expenses, restricting POs, and then allow printing of unapproved POs. So some clients want the remote employees to be able to print POs instantly. Others don't. So again, that's a configuration setting. And again, all this is available by administrator. We also, obviously, you can change the logo that's on the portal. Most clients don't really enjoy our WebSend logo on their own portal. And also, when an email is sent to an employee, what email account do you want that from for approvals, etc. So that's all there as well. So other than that, that's pretty much all of the configuration setting. You can manage approvers and things like that. As I mentioned earlier, we have this idea of a master approver. So if someone goes on vacation, a master approver or the supervisor's supervisor can also still approve things, and that takes care of if people are gone or not in the office. So just going back to my PowerPoint, want to do just a quick run through one more time of all the different pieces and parts of this. So we talked about timesheets, time off requests, and looking at the calendar. We talked about expenses and POs, approvals. Again, all these different approvals you can do, and internal messaging as well as emailing. Quickly, I can look at history. I can look at who submitted what or what's still out there. And again, as I mentioned, SQL reporting services is a huge, huge area that clients take advantage of, both because Dynamics GP comes with hundreds and hundreds of reports, but again, it's browser independent, and clients love the fact that you can even access this thing from a mobile device, at least a tablet. It works quite well on a tablet. From a phone, etc., it's a little small, but it does still work. So as long as you've got a network connection or internet connection, that's it. So really embedding the SQL reports within here and the ability to print them to PDF or export them, etc., has been a great advantage for our clients. So with that being said, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask. Let me just see here. Yep, I think I took care of the questions that people asked along the way. As usual, I do like to do a little bit of a poll and see if this helped you sort of understand our time and expense management system. So if you don't mind, please respond and let us know. We love the feedback all the time, good or bad, so appreciate that. If this was helpful, please let me know. If not, obviously please let me know as well, because we'd like to improve this process over time. What we also do is you'll get a survey here from our marketing gang, and they'll ask you what your request is for the next webinar. I think the next one we're doing is around project accounting reporting specifically. I know the last one we did around dashboards was pretty popular, so I think the next thing we're going to do is some really in-depth project accounting reporting webinars. There's some good stuff that we've done over the years on project accounting reports, and we'll do a webinar on that as well. So thanks. Looks like everybody was pretty happy today, so appreciate that. And with that being said, just want to thank you for attending. Much appreciated as usual, and I think we'll have another one. Well, we'll definitely have another one next month. One other thing I want to let you know about is we have begun a WebSAN University. So each month, 2 times a month, we're putting online courses together. This month, I believe, is Introduction to Dynamics GP, and I actually see some of you on here today are actually coming to that. So next month, we're going to get into General Ledger, and I believe Accounts Payable probably. And we're going to try doing 2 a month, and it is a paid service. So if you are interested, please let us know, and we'll get you that link, and you can sign up, and we just take credit card payment right over the internet, and you can attend that course as well. So lots more coming. We hope to be through about 10 or so courses by the end of the year, and then we'll be offering those on a subscription basis online as well. So again, thank you very much for attending today, and we'll be back to you next time with some project accounting reporting. Have a good day.